This week's newsletter is on the proper use of boundaries, and that's something you can look up in the Recovery Library to read. But I want to talk a little bit about marital boundaries since we specifically deal with infidelity. A boundary is, in its simplest sense, is a property line. It denotes the beginning and end of something. Like my property that we live on, we have a fence, and that's how you know where our property ends and where it begins. And with marriage, it gets complicated because there are really three people within a marriage. There is you, there's them, there's us. And each one of those entities has their own separate boundaries and has to be responsible for those boundaries. I need to know where I begin and what's my responsibility, and where Stephanie begins and ends and what's her responsibility. One of our biggest problems in our relationship was simply me thinking that I was somehow responsible for her happiness. Well, her happiness is actually her responsibility. That's on her property. My happiness is actually something I'm responsible for. That's inside my space. And then there's the us space that we begin to create. I have to see that she's not responsible for my feelings. My anger is my problem. But if she has to dance around trying to control my anger so we can have a good relationship, there's something wrong with her boundary. She needs to be able to set a boundary simply and say, look, when you act like that, I'm not going to be in the same room with you, or I don't want to talk about things when you are doing this unless we're in front of a counselor or something like that. She can set a boundary, her boundary, to protect herself. But she sets boundaries to protect her and kind of maintain her safety, just like I have to set boundaries for me. And as a couple, we also have to set good boundaries. And the boundary that we create around us as a relationship, in my mind, needs to include far more than just concepts of monogamy and who we let in and who we don't let in. In my opinion, one of the problems that we have in culture today is the message about autonomy, where we see ourselves as individuals first and couples second. Because that's going to be a huge problem for Steph and I if it's always about me and then her. This is where personal needs are prioritized over the need of the couple. My independence is what's important, and you're not going to be the boss of me. When that happens, the marriage, is really relegated to second place, and it really leaves both of us at risk of feeling very unwanted, disregarded, unimportant. If it's good for me with the autonomous system, then you should be all right with it. And it results in us failing to even think about the other person because we're just doing what is right for me, or it's my right? You knew me when you married me. I should be able to do what I want. You need to be okay as long as I maintain, quote, autonomy. You do your thing, I'll do my thing. And that concept really has little or nothing to do with mutuality or the concept of us, as far as I'm concerned. That actually requires your mate to be okay or else, which again leaves them feeling insignificant. As Stan Tatkin points out in his book Wired for Love, this brand of autonomy really doesn't reflect independence, but it actually reflects a fear of dependence. Instead of strength, it represents weakness because we don't know how to be us and hold us safely. Perhaps I can give you an example of what mutuality looks like a little bit. It's a little known fact that actually I'm an introvert. Most people, after seeing me at EMS and things like that, think that I'm an extrovert, but I'm not. And Steph, on the other hand, is the consummate extrovert. So when we go to an event, I know that that's where she gets her batteries charged. She's like the ever-ready bunny, and she just draws energy off of the crowd. But there's also a part of her that is well aware of me. Now, she could sit there and say, because I'm an extrovert, you just need to accept me as I am, and, you know, this is what I want to do, so you just need to be okay with it when we're at an event. But instead, Steph, because of the mutuality, says, look, I know that this is going to be really hard for you. I know you don't like being in a big crowd. So whenever you get tired, I want you to just let me know when you've had enough. I'm going to stay right with you. I'm going to be with you during the night. Don't worry, I'm not going to leave you just kind of wandering out there. But truly, just please let me know when you're ready to go, because I want to take care of you. That is more about mutuality. In my opinion, mutuality reflects what marital boundaries really need to be like to provide safety and importance to our relationship. It's being aware of what your mate feels and what they think. It's based on sharing and mutual respect. It's how we build not only kind of this monogamy fence around our relationship, but it's how we protect each other from outside influences so that both of us can feel protected and valued within this couple bubble. The couple bubble, Stan Tatkin refers to this, is the environment we create to sustain together that implicitly guarantees certain things for each other in our boundaries, such as, I'll never leave you. That's an implicit guarantee, hopefully. Or when you're in distress, I'll relieve you. Even if I'm the one causing the stupid distress, you know, I'll never frighten you purposefully. Or our relationship it's far more important to me than my need to be right. Your performance, our relationship's more important than your appearance, what others think or want, or any other competing value. That our relationship is really important to me. You're important to me. And that's how secure attachment is created. Not by autonomy, but rather by being aware of each other and being able to make those guarantees. Here's another guarantee. You'll be the first to hear about anything, and not the second, third, fourth, or fifth person that I tell. It's just letting them know that they're first in your life. It's these types of guarantees and statements that we can make to each other, either explicitly or implicitly, that offer closeness and exclusivity in the marriage that I think you want to build. I understand, since most of you watching this video are dealing with infidelity, that there may be no way you can give some of those guarantees or feel like giving those guarantees, because you don't even know what the boundaries are right now in terms of, are we going to be us or not? But I would invite you to consider that in the long run, it's going to be important to be able to create something. What guarantees? Ask yourself, are you willing to give to begin to protect us, to protect the marriage, to think about one another? It's not about autonomy. It's about mutuality. What guarantees would you like to receive? What would you love to hear your mate say? Our goal, if you choose it for yourself, is to help you build a new and more fulfilling marriage. If marriage is really what's going to work out for you. Again, I don't know what's going to happen here, and I want to be sensitive to where you're at. But my hunch is that those guarantees, that whole sense of mutuality, may not have been there. You may not have done a great job of fencing the relationship in terms of making each other feel exclusive and important and protected. And as you go forward, if you choose to do so, you really want to begin to consider how you're going to do that. Because that's something that I've learned that you really need to do to have a great sense of us and a relationship that you're really proud of and that you can feel safe in, because you know that you matter to your mate and they know they matter to you, that you're important to them, you're aware of them, you know how they think, you know how they feel, and they know what you think and how you feel, and they're protective of you. One of the best ways of doing that is to learn more about mutuality and attachment. If you want more information in that area, I'd strongly recommend reading Stan Tatkin's book, Wired for Love. He's got some great concepts on attachment and the couple bubble and autonomy and mutuality. It's a good read to healing.